This is someone who has written fair articles about me in the past, who then turned around and stabbed me in the back right after the New Yorker article came out and put the context correctly. This is how I responded to her in an email. Let's get the facts straight. The Hamas lawmaker you refer to is a murderer. He executed 2 young Jewish parents who were hiding from him and then smashed in the head of their 4-year-old daughter with a rifle butt. He was imprisoned in Israel for these crimes for years, and you call him a lawmaker, and you call me a shock jock? Shame on you. That is why your newspaper is dead. The New Yorker profile you give one sentence. I am the only person in the history of this provincial backwater of San Francisco to have ever been profiled by the New Yorker, joining the League of the Truly Celebrated, and you give it one sentence? Shame on you. You know, we've talked about Obama's connections with certain leftist terrorist types. One of the biggest names was Bill Ayers. Joining us now is Cliff Kincaid with a Savage Nation exclusive on an upcoming conference, which is going to release some more information about Bill Ayers. Cliff, welcome back to the Savage Nation.
Michael, thanks for having me on the show again. We've got an exclusive for you. We're going to have a amazing news conference in Washington, D.C. Coming up on August 20th at the National Press Club. Now, that doesn't mean the press is going to pay any attention to it, but we're going to give it a try. We're going to go after Bill Ayers, or should I say the distinguished professor of education, Bill Ayers. Actually, our conference is going to go beyond just this communist terrorist professor, Michael. We're going to call it communism in the classroom. And the timing is, of course, appropriate because so many kids, so many students and young people are going back to school. What we've done is take a look at how the heck Bill Ayers actually got his job at the University of Illinois in Chicago. And we also are looking at how many other Bill Ayers types are in colleges and universities across the United States. You know, when Obama was running and his relationship with Bill Ayers got some attention, some people were amazed that this communist terrorist who specialized as a member of the Weather Underground in bombing police stations, and by the way, he and his terrorist wife, Bernadine Dorn, are still under investigation for the 1970 bombing murder of a San Francisco police sergeant. But how did Ayers get this prestigious job at a publicly funded university, the University of Illinois? And so we've decided to try to find out.
How did you get your information on Obama's friend Ayers?
What we've done is submit a series of Freedom of Information Act requests under state law in Illinois to the university, trying to find out how he got his job, how he got his promotion, how he got his tenure, and where he's been going on the taxpayer dime, in other words, foreign travel, and what he is actually teaching in the classroom. And we've got a lot of answers. We can't go into them all here, of course. We're going to have a full-blown conference in Washington on the 20th. But I commissioned a professor out of Georgia, Mary Graybar, a great writer, got an academic and scholarly background, to take a look at some of the courses that Ayers has been teaching down there. She's already written a couple reports for us. And I'll tell you, just to sum it up, that although she puts it in somewhat diplomatic and academic language, this guy, this professor of education, is really just a communist propagandist in the classroom. And we've got the proof. Now, it's been a struggle. We had to go through a lot of letters, appeals of some denials of our requests for information, but we finally got out of the president of the university himself, B. Joseph White, some of the syllabi, the course descriptions of what Ayers is actually teaching. And we're going to be putting all of this up on our website at usasurvival.org. That's usasurvival.org, because my group, America's Survival, is sponsoring the conference. So we've gotten some of that. We've gotten some of his syllabi, but here's where we ran into a brick wall. We couldn't find out who recommended Ayers for his teaching position, who agreed to it, who approved it, and who was on the committee that decided to eventually give him tenure.
Why not?
Because they said, if they gave that kind of information to us, that would be a violation of his personal privacy. His personal privacy when he is a professor with access to young people at a publicly funded, that is taxpayer-funded university. And let me add at this point, Michael, that it's not just, his influence is not just felt at the University of Illinois in Chicago. This is a guy whose work, whose books are being cited by other education professors across the country, who is the vice president of a National Education Academic Association. All of this, Mary Graybar is going to go into in some detail. And so because after a lot of searching, a lot of research, we have to conclude, frankly, that the reason Ayers got this job was because of his daddy, his rich daddy, a man now deceased by the name of Thomas Ayers, who was a big mover and shaker in Chicago. He was the CEO of Commonwealth Edison. That was the electrical utility. He was also a big player not only in Chicago politics, but in Chicago cultural activities. So our conclusion, as Mary Graybar puts it, is that Ayers got his teaching job at the University of Illinois the Chicago way. And we know what that's all about.
Well, where does it go from here?
We're going to continue to put the heat on Bill Ayers with the release of several reports. Plus, we've got a great other speaker coming down, Paul Kengor, Grove City College, who's written a number of great books, including one about Ronald Reagan and his battle against communism. Paul Kengor is going to talk at our conference on August 20th in Washington on the subject of what he calls anti-communism. In other words, why anti-communists cannot survive as professors in academia for the most part. And then Mary Graybar and I will follow by discussing how there are actual communists in academia. Not only Bill Ayers, we're going to give you a lot of other examples. Plus, I've got a new report we're releasing about, of all things, a journalism educator, a professor from Northwestern, again, Bernadine Dorn's school these days, a guy named Curtis McDougall, now deceased. He actually wrote my college textbook in journalism called Interpretative Reporting. We happened, Michael, to get Curtis McDougall's FBI file. He was under surveillance by the FBI. We got his 315-page FBI file involved in all kinds of Communist Front groups, including an association with Soviet-funded publishing house. It's just mind-blowing, hair-raising material that we have that we're going to release again in Washington on August 20th, just as students are going back to school. And I just have to say, Michael, thanks for having me on, to give you the heads-up, inside scoop about what's happening. And of course, through usasurvival.org, people can find out more. And we hope, of course, as a result of this, that the kind of citizen activism we're seeing in the congressional town halls, where people are calling to take their country back, that we're going to take back our colleges and universities from the communists who are using them as brainwashing and indoctrination centers, targeting our young people and using them to destroy our countries.
Cliff Kincaid, thanks for the exclusive, and thanks for being on the Savage Nation.
Savage. Eloquent in their own way.
Armstrong and Getty. Weekday morning, 6 to 10. Talk 910 KNEW.
It is the Savage Nation. Musings on this, on that, on here, on there, whatever. I'm bored out of my gourd. I'm tired. Summertime. I should be on vacation. Except I hate vacations. I just went on one and I'm exhausted from it. I couldn't wait to get home. Well, why does anyone go on a vacation? I could see not working. That I could understand. But you know when you get to where you're going, you're unhappy there anyway. The bed's no good. The food's no good. You got to listen to strangers. Don't you wince around? Well, when the kids are young, you're obliged to go on vacations for their sake, but they hate it as well. A young child doesn't know where they are. That you all got to understand. If they're well fed and they're in front of a fire hydrant in the Bronx in 1944 in the street, they could be in the Palace of Versailles. It wouldn't matter to them if they're running in a bathing suit in the street, as I did with the fire hydrant open before the PC police closed down the fire hydrants. That was our swimming pool. Was Longfellow Avenue with a fire hydrant, with the smiling father standing by. They had a wrench. They opened the fire hydrant. The kids had a good summer. You didn't have to go, with a suspension of a vacation.